Hi everybody, welcome to the CareerHITrac program. This is where we take you from program to paycheck and try to bring your strategies for successful career advancement to fruition. So I'm Sunny Ailey, I'm the Associate Dean in the Normandale Continuing Education and Customized Training area. And also with me today we have Tracy Mastella, who's Program Director for the Minnesota Health IT program. And then we have the famous, the one and only Catherine Byers-Breeze. And Catherine will be your facilitator, your champion, and your coach today through this program. When Catherine was little, she wanted to be a National Geographic photographer or Barbra Streisand. That's cool. When neither of those worked out, she fell into recruiting and never really looked back. So as a recruiter, she was the director of recruiting, she was an account executive and consultant, and she also guided the selection and retention of thousands for companies ranging in size from a global firm to nonprofits and startups. She personally has driven $2.5 million in annual sales and has trained dozens of managers on how to get it right the first time. Catherine has also been involved in talent management of health IT professionals since 1997, so that brings a really high level of authenticity to what we're doing today. Today, she's on a mission to help 1 million people do what they love for a living. Globally, her high-tech, high-touch approach is working. Catherine is helping employers, organizations, and individuals navigate the new world of work. Her company offers online tools, training, and customized solutions to harness the power of technology and translate personal career dreams into reality. We're very fortunate to have her here today. She's active in the community and was selected as a 2013 Exceptional Businesswoman. She is a highly sought-after speaker and frequent contributor to publications like the Star Tribune, Associated Press, Campus Career Counselor. When she's not helping people change their stripes, she can be found chasing fun with her 2 small boys and her husband in the Twin Cities area of Minnesota. Catherine's been with us since the inception of the Minnesota Health IT program in 2010, and she has personally inspired hundreds and hundreds of people who are caught in the middle of career transition in the opportunity to look and find their passion and live in it. So we're super, super excited to have her here again, and I hope that you enjoy the session. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Catherine.
Great. Thank you very much, Sunny and Tracy. It is great to be here, and we're going to have some fun. Woo! Today is about chasing your dreams and helping you get clear on why are you here? Something drew you to Normandale and to this MNHIT program, and I want to help you kind of peel back those layers and remember what that draw was all about. And we're going to start to put the pieces together for your future, whatever that may look like. So for starters, I've got a question for you. Here are 4 buckets, if you will, about different personality styles and traits. So I'm wondering, which of these do you think best describes you? Are you a type A, assertive driver? I get things done. I love and embrace and search out change. And I like to be in control. Would you tend to fall in the second category, which is you are a terrific influencer and consensus builder, the kind of person that people tend to come to for advice and lean on to rally the troops? Are you someone that I can always count on to deliver as promised in that third category? Patient, persistent, probably not loud or terribly outgoing, but wow, do you get things done? Really key part of a team. Or do you feel more like you're a quality, organized, and understated person? So you take the time to research and make great plans and then execute with precision. Which of these do you think best describes you? So just kind of jot down some thoughts throughout the webinar today, because we're going to do some reflection. We're going to talk about a lot of different things in the industry, and the more notes you take, the more it will help you in the future. So I ask those things because as we talk about what's next for you, what are you dreaming about, what are your barriers and pipelines to achieve it, I want you to first look at you. The most critical person in this whole thing is you. And so I just really encourage you, starting today, to think first about you and second about your employer, because I'll let you in on a little secret. The most successful people do exactly that. They know that the more focused they can get on their strengths, their natural talents, their gifts, and their passions, the much greater their chances of excelling. So I encourage you to do that starting right now, and that's a big part of this program for you. So now that I've got you kind of thinking about why are you here and what are some of your styles, I do want to give you a little bit of information about great news about the state of the job market. So here's what that looks like. The new world of work is quite a bit different than it was even 10 years ago. Perhaps startling for you is that the average American right now, today, is changing jobs every 2.7 years. A lot of people think recession's over, people are sitting in jobs for 5 or 10 years. They aren't. So some of you are in transition right now. Welcome. Some of you are working, gainfully employed, but unhappy. Welcome. And some of you love what you're doing. You're just here to sharpen your saw, learn some new things, and maybe look to become a little bit of a stronger player in your current employer. Whatever brought you here, I guarantee you that you will be looking at a different role in the future. My question is, do you want it to be your choice or somebody else's? And of course, I know the answer. You want to be in charge of your own ship. So just know, change is a-coming. Over 40% of Americans are working as free agents. What that means is they are not in a full-time salaried position. So traditional work, staying with one company for 30 years, those days are over. All you have to do is talk to 3 or 4 friends and you can see it. But let's talk about some really inspiring things. Look at the number of jobs in healthcare. 23% of healthcare jobs are going unfilled right now. They're hungry for new talent and new skills like the ones that you're picking up right now in this MNHIT course. Healthcare firms are planning to hire aggressively, and do you see 36% of them are planning to use contractors, which marries up with 40% of Americans are working as free agents. Here's some fun news. Almost 3 out of 4 healthcare firms are looking to increase wages. Who doesn't like that? IT salaries, same thing. Business, technology, analytical and communication skills are extra hot and hard for employers to find. So a lot of what you're focusing on in this course, walking out of here, you are already much more competitive than a lot of the peers that are standing next to you. All right, so that's the state of the market. I'm going to come back to this question. Why are you here? What brought you here? Are you looking for a better job? Trying to avoid a toxic one? I've been there. That'll suck the life out of you, not just at work, but at home. Really tough on your family, your health. Do you know that people who are in a job that they don't enjoy have twice as many sick days and 37% higher healthcare costs? If you're curious and learning more about about well-being in your career and why it's really important for you to focus on you, go do a search for the Gallup Well-Being Study. They've done research for 50 years around the world, and it's fascinating information about the importance and the value of doing what you love to do every day. Don't get in a toxic job, and if you get in one, get out fast. So if you're not looking for a better job or trying to avoid a toxic job, maybe you're just feeling like there must be more for you. There is. There is. So again, take out your pens, jot down some notes. Why are you here? Why did you take this course? It's important to remember that, not just when you're slogging through the final pieces and you're down to the wire and you're carrying a full load at work and your families and you feel like you can't get the coursework done, but 3 months, 3 years, 10 years from now, I want you to remember to focus on you. So what brought you here? And now I want to talk about dreams. I might sound like a broken record, but I've been in the business 15 years in terms of recruiting and retention. I've had to have way too many conversations with people about, you know what, we love you, we really enjoy working with you, but this isn't a good fit. And those are terrible conversations to have, and so often it comes down to, you know what, I didn't even like this job. And had they had the courage to stand up and step out and go find a better fit, we wouldn't have been having that conversation. So dreams, your dreams, that little voice that keeps cropping up with you is real. And that little voice inside of you knows you better than that head that keeps getting in the way of your dreams. So I want you to think about what are you dreaming about? If there were no barriers, you didn't need a PhD, you didn't need 15 years in a specialty area, if there were no barriers for money, skills, experience, education, what would you be doing? What would your job title be? What company would you be working in? What kind of people would you be working for and with and alongside? What problems would you be solving? And what would your life look like? I've been in a toxic job, stuck in a cube in a global organization that was a really bad fit for me. I've owned my own business now for 8 years, and I won't tell you that it's easy. Some days are hard, but I jump out of bed every single day because I'm so excited and hopeful about what's in store for me. But that's my journey. There are many of you who would hate running your own company, who hate doing finances and sales and all of those pieces of the pie. What is your dream? And what would your life look like? I can tell you, I go to my kids' ball games, I go on field trips with them, I sleep in on a Monday if I want to. I have so many advantages in my life as a business owner and in the past as a consultant, and you can have the life you want too. But you first have to identify what it is that you want. So jot down the first things that come to mind. Hopefully, you're feeling hopeful and you're starting to feel that energy rise and you're excited about, wow, I really can start dreaming again. Now we're going to do a little reality check because it doesn't help you to dream big and not pay attention to which bridge is going to get you there. So let's talk about some of the challenges that you may be encountering. And maybe you are already encountering them. Let's say you're at a smaller employer and there are no open chairs. Let's say you want to move up into leadership position, you want to expand the work that you do, there's no place at that company to do that. Well, that's a real barrier. It's not perceived, it's real. What are you going to do about it? If I were you, I would say, you know, I really want to take on a leadership position. I want to be directly managing people. I don't think I can do it at this company. What kind of a company do I think I can do it in? What skills and experience might be required? And then build a bridge for yourself. In that scenario, what you want to do is start taking on more responsibility, mentoring more junior people, stepping up next to your boss and saying, what can I do to help you? And building that portfolio of experience without the title and responsibility and the pay, you can gain tremendous skills. And that will start to build your bridge. So when you start to look outside, guess what? You're a really attractive candidate. You can say, no, you're right. I didn't have the director title, but let me share some of the projects that I did in the last 2 years. Let me tell you about the certification that I just got through Normandale and the things I'm doing in the community. And I'm on the board of this professional association, and I'm a speaker. And all of a sudden, people start to look at you very differently.
So,
Sunny.
Catherine, when you look at those barriers, is it fair for people to list out barriers that might not be related specifically to the job, but are they personal barriers?
Absolutely.
Are they financial barriers?
Yes,
Can you help
absolutely.
people think about a little wider on those
Yeah.
barriers?
So that's sort of the job site, and then you also have to think about money. You may want that. Some of you are feeling really drawn to move into a lower paying job. You got to figure out the finances. Can you afford to do that right now? Or maybe that needs to be a 5-year plan. You've got families. You probably have mortgages, rent, financial responsibilities. And the other thing that I see a lot of people kind of skip in terms of barriers is their spouse, significant other, and even family members and friends can be a barrier to your success if they're not on board with you. So I absolutely want you to get fired up and excited about what's next for you and what comes after that. But you have to be thoughtful about your barriers, put them down on paper, and then come up with an attack plan. All right, my spouse is really afraid of change, and I talk about leaving my employer where I've been for 15 years, or I talk about going for promotion, moving into management, whatever it is. If there's a person in your life that's resistant and fearful, honor that and ease them into it and and help them share their fears so that you can offset those a little bit. For those of you that are actively in job search, I can tell you some of the barriers that we've mentioned right now: money, family, commitments, fear of change. All of those things are real, and they will be elephants standing in your way if you don't write them down and strategize about what to do about it. Some of them you can solve. Others you just have to learn how to deal with. So great question, Sunny. Are there any others that you think about that you see people struggling with?
No, I think that fear piece is probably that apprehension and anxiety. Just the fear would be huge. But I do know that you need a circle of support. So thank you for talking about the personal side.
Absolutely. And to follow up on that, here are the 4 biggest barriers that do get in people's way when they are trying to advance in their careers. You might even be staying in the same chair, but you just want to take on additional responsibility, get a raise, whatever it is. Lack of focus, lack of action, fear, there it is again, and isolation. What I'd really like you to do is start being deliberate about surrounding yourself with champions. Not just people who have a positive approach in life, but who look on you positively and are uppers. They fill your gas tank. They believe in you. They're hopeful, and they can help you see the light. They can maybe help you see a different path. Some of them are going to be great people to hold up a mirror and help you see the potential risks that you can't see. What is really interesting is that you're going to find, if you start going after this and really trying to build your board of directors, your champions, your circle of supporters, you're going to find that some of your family and friends can't be that for you. They are stuck in their own place, they're fearful, they don't understand, or they don't know how to help you, and they're scared. And you'll start to hear that language, oh my gosh, are you crazy? You want to run a clinic one day? Who do you think you are? They don't understand how you're going to get there, and they're fearful. So you're going to find strangers, people who don't know where you've been, will look at you, and in 5 or 10 minutes, they're going to get fired up and excited about where you can go with your career, and they will help you get there. So open your arms and invite strangers into your world and start sharing your dreams and your story and asking for advice, and crazy things will happen. Like before you know it, you may be a speaker at Normandale Community College doing a webinar series for the Minnesota Health IT students. Why? Because I reached out on LinkedIn and I shared my story and my dream of helping 1 million people, and here I am. And that was 3 years ago.
3 glorious years.
Yes. So an important thing to do is when you see a barrier in front of you, figure out, is it real or perceived? Is it my barrier or somebody else's, and what can I do about it? All right, so now that we've set the stage for success, let's take a look at what you can expect in the 4-part webinar series. So you'll get the 4-part webinar series. Sunny, do you want to tell them where they can find the workbook? There is a wonderful workbook to accompany this, chock full of samples and worksheets and scripts. You will absolutely want to use the workbook. So where should they go to find that?
They will find the workbook within D2L in the CareerHITrac class. And if they're having any trouble finding the content in that, they can contact me directly.
Fantastic. And that was Tracy Mastel. And community. I have as a 3rd point community. I want to tell you there are hundreds of alumni that have come through this course. They are on LinkedIn. Many of them are connected. We're going to tell you later about the LinkedIn group that Normandale runs for this program, and you're going to find people that have gone before you doing all sorts of exciting things out there. Hunt them down. Reach out. They will not reject you. The minute you say Say, hey, I see you've gone through this course, me too. Boom, instant connection. So there's a community around this program, and I really encourage you to start connecting with those people. They will really help carry you where you want to go. A little more detail here. Part 1, today we're focusing on planning and preparation. Again, setting your stage for success. Part 2, we're going to start to look at the industry. And I will help you do some market research, not only to figure out and really clearly define what it is that you want to do, explore the possibilities, but I'll start to help you understand what employers are looking for. Because at the end of the day, we're here to talk about career. And when you talk about career and work and jobs, somebody holds the money. So whether you're consulting or working as a full-time employee or something in the middle, somebody's got the money that you need. So we need to really understand who's your target market, who do you want to work with, what business problems are they struggling with, and what's going to make them want to work with you. That's part 2. Part 3, how do you get there? What's your roadmap? Which is unique for you? And we'll really talk about your goals, isolating that target again, doing a gap analysis, and setting your strategy. Part 4, creating the product. The product is you. You are what is for hire. And Part 4 is all about helping you put together a professional portfolio. We are definitely going to talk about a resume and cover letters. I'll focus a lot on networking because that's where the magic is. That's your silver bullet for career security, satisfaction, and joy is people, other people. And one of the toughest things to do is to answer that question, what's your story? So tell me about yourself. And 9 out of 10 people miss an opportunity to engage because they stumble and they trip and they don't know how to answer that. So we're going to work on that, and that will feed into your resume and everything else you're doing. Every week, we're going to wrap up with a key exercise, or it will be embedded in there. And so this week, it's discovering your strengths. You can see up there what some of our other key exercises are. So that's what's in store. A little bit more about the workbook. It definitely follows this course. You can do it at your own pace. It is best to follow from A to Z. And I hope you find the time to get Part 1 done before you do the Part 2 webinar because you'll get a whole lot more out of it. So beautiful thing is you can time this as you need it, self-directed. So set yourself some deadlines and work through this. You will not regret it, I promise. So a little more information for you on community as well. And I want to again point out on LinkedIn, Minnesota Health IT Professionals. It's hosted by Normandale. There are lively discussions. Normandale and other people who belong to it share industry trends, articles, opportunities for those of you that are looking for work right now, job search tips. So get out there. Do not delay. You will not regret it. LinkedIn is one of those things that is mission critical in the new world of work, and if you aren't out there already, you really need to get out there.
So, Catherine, I've talked to a lot of students who are concerned about how to get started on LinkedIn and creating that online presence. They feel a little bit like it's opening Pandora's box, and they don't really understand the proper etiquette for how to handle the different fields and the endorsements that pop up. So do you have any advice for these students?
Absolutely. First of all, I just want to acknowledge that I get it, and when you talk about technology, and this falls in that category, there are the early adopters that wait in 10 below weather to get the new iPhone. There are the people who go along with the crowd and they maybe will buy it a month or two later. And then there's me, the late adopters. So I just want to say to those of you that are fearful of LinkedIn, I totally get it. I was a resistor 7 years ago, and people kept pinging me and asking me to join them. And then one day I said, all right, I'll sign up. And then you're right, it did. It felt like Pandora's box, and I felt like overnight I'd become a superstar, but without the paycheck and the cool movies. And it felt like the paparazzi were feeding on me. All of these people were looking at my profile and wanting to talk to me, and I didn't know how to manage it. What I can say to you is, A, it gets better. You grow accustomed to it. B, it isn't that bad. It is very different from Facebook. So if you're on Facebook or you've seen what happens on Facebook, LinkedIn is completely different. LinkedIn's like the office. Facebook is like the bar. Seriously.
Love it.
And so nobody can get on your profile and change anything. Nobody can make nasty comments on your profile. Nobody can change your picture. You are in absolute control of what you do with your profile. And so a couple of suggestions on how to get savvy with LinkedIn. I mean, I'll be honest with you, LinkedIn does a beautiful job in their help section. You can type in any topic, and they will give you a great tutorial on how to manage and how to handle. You can go on the internet and get thousands of free videos on LinkedIn etiquette, what to do with endorsements, all of those things. You will also find in your neighborhood LinkedIn classes all day long. There are experts like me. Did I just call myself an expert? There are a lot of people like me who are out doing training on LinkedIn, so you don't have to look very far to get help. Another thing, find somebody on LinkedIn who's doing a great job. You admire their profile, you're in groups and you see that they contribute and they are reputable and they're industry leaders. Ask them for some advice. Buy them a cup of coffee or lunch and ask them for some advice, and you'll get some tremendous recommendations. You cannot, once you're out there, it's true, you cannot control who's able to, you actually can control who's able to look at your profile. You can hide your profile and make it not public. I don't advise that, and I want all of you to push your comfort zone and push the envelope, and very soon I'd like you to get to a place where you're comfortable making your profile and your contact information public. That is the very best way to secure your future and help you achieve your dreams. But you can take baby steps. The most important thing is that you're out there. You've got to have a headshot, and it's got to be professional. Please, no blurry pictures, no pictures of you on the beach or in your Halloween costume. It must be a headshot that's professional and engaging, and you got to smile. Again, you don't have to look far. Go out on LinkedIn and judge your emotional response to the pictures that you're seeing, and that will really guide what you're doing. So, got to have a picture. If you do, you will be 7 times more likely that people will reach out to you. So even if you're not job hunting right now, I can tell you, you definitely want industry leaders and colleagues and peers connecting with you. And if you don't have a picture, only 1 in 7 will. Very important. So little things, and start small. If you're just getting started, I would recommend that you join a bunch of groups that interest you. You will soon start to see which ones are worth staying in and which ones aren't. And eventually, you're going to dip your toe in and you're going to start to contribute to some conversations, and you're going to realize the power of LinkedIn. So I hope that answers the question and eases some minds a little bit. On the privacy, I don't know if you specifically asked for that, but some of you are concerned about the safety and privacy issues. Really good online behavior for you is at least once a month change your passwords. Don't use anything in your family, birth dates, mother's maiden name. Pick something like sunshine and do sun01 shine, exclamation point. That's an excellent password. So pick some random word that nobody would ever associate with you and use that for your password. If you are worried about having your phone out there, get a cell phone that's not attached to your home. People have to be able to connect with you. They really do.
Google Voice.
Yeah, Google Voice, Skype, absolutely, Tracy. So you can no longer ignore LinkedIn. You can't unless you want to be left in the dust. So it's a powerful tool. I feel you. I know it's scary, but it's not nearly as scary as you think. That's one of those barriers that is much bigger in perception than the reality is.
It's a way for people to control their brand that's out there.
Absolutely.
The perception that people have of themselves.
Yeah, so Tracy brought up a great point, and so back to the superstar analogy, think about some superstars that you see in the news. Which ones do you feel sorry for because they're splashed in all the tabloids, and then you look at some others who are in similar movies or maybe even in the same movies, and that never happens to them. That's because they take charge of their personal brand, and they drive and control the image that they put out there and the messages, and you can do all of that with LinkedIn. We're going to work on that. We're going to work on creating the product and your personal brand in part 4. So don't miss session 4. Don't give up on this. It's worth the wait. We're going to talk more about that. Thanks for bringing that up, Tracy. So we've talked about who you are and what you're dreaming about and how hot the health IT market is and great expectations for your future. Now I want you to hear about someone who's doing it and went through this course and turned it into a fantastic move in his career. So this is a testimonial from Darin, who came through the health IT course, Sunny, about 18 months ago, something like that.
He was actually the very first person who contacted Normandale ever for the HIT program.
Very fun.
Before we even had it.
So, like all of you, he was serious about moving ahead in his career, and he reached out and took the course. So, let's meet him. He is today a health IT leader, lives in Savage, lovely wife and 3 kids. He likes the great outdoors. He's been delivering software solutions, IT, for 15 years. His passion and his drive and his daily motivation is around solving problems and learning new business skills, which is not terribly common in the IT world, so already he had set himself apart. And his passion, he had spent quite a bit of time in IT in the healthcare world, and his real passion is helping the end user make smart healthcare decisions. We have all had loved ones who are going through health issues. I'm sure that's a big part of why you're in this program. You care deeply about improving the quality of healthcare in this country, and that's important to Darin as well. Now, you want to see something funny? He didn't grow up dreaming about this. This was a mid-career dream for him and a big shift. He started out thinking he was going to be a meteorologist. And if you connect with him and talk with him, he'll tell you the story about the moment when he decided that meteorology was not for him. But he fell into IT sort of backwards and accidentally and fell in love with it. So software quality, systems and business analyst, healthcare software integrity since 2002. He had been supporting content management, physician practice management for 7 years. Took the course, there we have it, in 2011. And today he's with Optum Insight at United Health Group. He's a lead, and he's working on consumer cost transparency. Loves it, loves leading a small team of people, and he's making a difference out there. He is making change and driving change and improving the quality of healthcare. So we talked to Darin and said, why were you the first person to reach out to Sunny about this program? What inspired you to take the program? He said, I want to enhance my skills. And I know I'm smart and I've accomplished a lot, but it's critical that I continue to absorb and learn and grow, and this looks like a great way to do it. And he'd spent so much time heads down solving problems, getting stuff done, he hadn't worked on himself for a while. So how did he harness his new certification? That's one of the things that folks struggle with. You know, great, so I have this new certification. All of a sudden, my dream job's going to fall in my lap. No, it's not. That's never how it works. Now, there are people in your life who you think, wow, I wish I was as lucky as her. She's so successful. She must be a leprechaun. Oh, my goodness, what a lucky girl. Well, she makes it look easy. He makes it look, whoever those people are that you're idolizing, those superstars, and you're thinking, how come they're so lucky? If you sit down and buy them a cup of coffee, I guarantee you they will open the kimono and share with you the trials and the tribulations that they went through and the perseverance and what it took for them to get where they are. It wasn't easy. And they were lucky because they were prepared and they had a plan. And when a stranger said, so what's your story? They could share that and get the stranger excited about it who led them to their next place. So, no, your new certification is not going to get you where you want to go just because of that certification. However, what you've learned and your conversations and your confidence and your action are going to carry you through. And that certification is a huge asset in your toolkit.
Catherine,
Yes.
I have another question. One thing that I hear also from students is that they have a hard time, you were talking about those stories, and students or people looking for jobs and doing their networking sometimes have a hard time remembering what those stories are and all the great things that they've done. So do you have any suggestions for people on how they can tap into that?
Absolutely. Storytelling, it is really hard. You know, we live in a culture where unless you're a superstar, you're not supposed to really toot your own horn, and most of you are in a caring profession because you're team players, you're collaborators, and you aren't in it for all the glory. And so when you're put on that spot to tell your story and create your personal brand and do a LinkedIn profile, it is really hard. And so my advice for today is to start thinking about it. So first of all, just even an awareness that you need stories is a first and important step. And I will tell you that this course is designed to help you find your voice and help you tell those stories. And in the next sessions, I'm literally going to give you templates and scripts to help you build those stories so that every opportunity you have to share your stories, you can do it with confidence and ease in 30 seconds or 60 seconds versus rambling on. So it is hard, and it takes practice, and I encourage you to ask other people to help you with it. Coming up with your stories on your own is really, really hard, and it's not the best way to do it. So what you'll do in this course is you'll start to sketch some things out, and then you're going to go grab lunch or dinner with friends or colleagues or people you meet in the industry and just start dialoguing with them. And even say to them, hey, I'm working on my personal brand on LinkedIn. Do you have any suggestions? Here's what I have so far. So there's some of my thoughts so far. Hang in there, because we're going to work on that as we go, but especially in part 4, session 4.
Darin has some great tips to share as well.
He did. So some tips for you from Darin, who's done it really successfully, not just in this course, but become a hungry learner, a lifelong learner. Some people love to go to school. You don't have to go to school for the rest of your life to be a hungry learner and absorb around you. So constantly seek to learn new things inside the company and outside. Take advantage of everything Normandale has to offer. We are in the continuing education department, and I tell you, they are constantly inventing and creating and delivering fresh, new, relevant courses on everything from, Sunny, what kind of courses can they take here?
You can go all the way from health and wellness to quality and process improvement methodologies, to languages, to digital literacy. It's really about, one of the things we say is that you're kind of on a T scale. So you have kind of this spectrum of competencies, and they're all over the place because in this day and age, you need to know a little about a lot. However, then you take a deep dive, which creates the T, in an area where you really become an expert in that. And so you need to have multiple T's to be able to kind of be successful out in the world. And that's what we do. We really try to bring those programs that'll help you create those T models, if you will.
I love it. And on that analogy of the T's, do you know what that deep dive is? That's where your passion is. So you're going to be a generalist in a lot of areas. If time management is not your thing, there's a course on that at Normandale. You got to take it. You got to get better with those skills, but you don't have to become an expert in that. You have to be just good enough to hold your own, and then you take a deep dive where your heart draws you, because that is where your gifts and your talents are, and that is where you will really excel. Think about it for a minute. We're in the middle of draft season, right, for sports, and so you're watching the chaos and all of this. When somebody gets recruited onto a football team, do they play 5 positions? No, they don't. If they're a quarterback, that is the only position they play. Why? It's where they're at their best. So Gallup, again, has done research on strengths. If you haven't taken the strengths assessment, please do. It's the best $9.99 you'll spend. There's a course here at Normandale on it. StrengthsFinder will help you identify your top 5 natural gifts and talents and help you harness those and go deep. So if you find those things that you're naturally wired and drawn to and focus on those, you can become the best cello player in the world. You can become the best quarterback, or you can become the best, Sunny, what could they do with a healthcare specialist role? Whatever you want. You can become the best.
What can't you do?
What can't you do? But think about that. And I think if you look at the pain and suffering you've had in your career, it was where you were focused on trying to get way better in areas that you don't like doing stuff. Figure out how to focus on the natural talents, where your passion is, outsource or delegate the other stuff and find that home that really fits for you. So Darin's tips: constantly learn, take advantage of continuing ed at Normandale, network. I'm going to give you scripts and associations and places and people to go. Number 4, we live in an exciting world where global opportunity is limitless, but people also can access you. And guess what? If you burn a bridge at work today, that person will remember it 10 years from now. I was taking a walk with my husband the other day, and we passed a neighbor, and guess what? He said, "That's the guy who backed out on a job on me, isn't it?" He remembers 6 years ago. Stefan looks bad. He submitted that person to a client. The guy interviewed. He took the job verbally, and then he backed out on it last minute. I'm afraid Stefan will never forget that because he looks bad. The client was angry. So be very careful. It's okay. And we took about 50 more steps, and then he started saying, "I know, it was a better move for him. He's still happy at that company." But he didn't handle it well. He should have called Stefan and say, "Dude, there's no good way to say this. A better offer came along," but he didn't do that. He didn't have the decency to call Stefan, and he just called the client, and the client called Stefan furious. So there are so many opportunities for you to prove that you're high integrity and a great team player, but there are also a lot of opportunities for you to burn bridges, and you just have to be mindful of that. So that's one of Darin's top tips. And about the job search, and about how you carry yourself at work. So this is not just job search, guys. This is life. You will be changing jobs, on average, every 2.7 years. How you carry yourself in your dress, in your attitude, all of those things, you need to think about that. You really do. And so please, if you're having a bad day, don't walk into a networking scenario and dump on some unsuspecting stranger. Find a safe place to do that, and just really think about how you carry yourself out there, the way you speak, the way you dress, what you do online. I said nobody can mess with your profile, but you can mess with your own brand by bringing negativity into discussion groups out there. So just be mindful of that.
One thing I'd like to reiterate, and I think most people will feel this, but all of your colleagues or fellow students in the program, if you're ever at a student gathering or you're networking, they could be your potential employer because everybody's in the industry and they're all entering at a different level. So watch your conversation and think about how to focus on the positivity or problem-solving piece. We just had a kind of a meeting, and we noticed that there was a student who was kind of being negative, and he was around other people who very well could have made connections for them, but probably won't now because of, they're like, well, no, I think I was just this other person. So just be conscious of who you're around because you forget that everybody is some sort of potential connection to where you might be trying to go.
And absolutely, great advice on that. So I'm sure all three of us could share a lot more stories with you, but it's just you just never know who you're talking to. You never do. So find a safe, private place to vent because we all need places to vent. So that's Darin's story and recommendations. His lessons learned: dream big. Seriously, from meteorology to healthcare, do the work. Do the work. I've already said your dream is not going to land in your lap. You've got to go out and get it. Take advantage, network, and positive attitude. Positive attitude and really focusing on what you can do versus what you can't will make an enormous difference. It really will. So planning and preparation. Let's get started on the fun stuff in terms of your next move. In your workbook, you will find a career checklist, a job search checklist, a get-ready plan, and a worksheet to help you set a clear target and also one to help you discover your strengths. So it's in there. It is in there. Your career checklist is really, it's going to be your new best friend. It's going to be your guide from today until you close out your very last job in your career, if you let it. It's your success guide. Check it off as you go. I hope that in between this session and the next that you take the time to go through and figure out, what do I already have in place and what am I missing? How important is that right now, and when do I think I need to get that done by? Put some dates by it and set some goals for yourself. Very similar vein for those of you that are actively trying to get away from a toxic boss or you're unemployed. If you need a job right now, you must embrace the job search checklist. I'm bringing 15 years of experience getting people hired to the table. Let me save you from the pain and suffering that I watch people go through. I really know what it takes to get hired, and this job search checklist is going to walk you through what will help you get there faster and easier. Use it. Organization. Whether you're looking for work or looking to get promoted or whatever, are you organized? Do you know what you want? Worksheets 1 and 2 are there to help you start to find that voice and get clear on what you're headed toward. And then we're going to look at that mapping process and figure out how to get you there. But the worksheets, they're easy. I don't want you to go for perfection. Please. Your homework is to take a first run at this, and there is no such thing as the perfect plan and the perfect dream laid out. Things unfold as you go, but the important thing is to start to document and write it down and commit to yourself. Commit to the future that you're dreaming about. And that does involve your dream job. So for those of you that love where you're working and you don't want to get promoted or you don't want a new job title, you still have dreams, and there are still things that you want to do more of at work. What is that? Think about that T analogy that Sunny said. What's that anchor, that deep dive that you want to take, and start building a bridge to get you there. A lot of the tools that are in this program for you that look like and feel like job search tools are going to help you get where you want to go today and tomorrow. Do you know what makes you great? If I were to sit down with you over a cup of coffee or tea or a smoothie or a beer, whatever you want, whatever your drink of preference, could you tell me 3 things, 3 of your proudest career achievements? Could you tell me what separates you from the healthcare specialist sitting next to me or the IT lead? Do you know what makes you great? If you couldn't answer that over a drink with me, then you have a little work to do. Lean into that, because I guarantee you, give me 20 minutes with you and I'm going to help you find 5 or 10 wonderful things that you already bring to the party right now today. But it takes some time to stop and think about it. And again, let other people help you get there. Worksheets 3 through 9 are going to help you start to capture and remember all the things that make you great. I've mentioned StrengthsFinder. If you haven't taken it, do. Gallup is the organization that runs it, and it's a strengths assessment, and you can do the individual assessment for $9.99. So do that. Worksheet 9 is going to help you start to tell those stories. And the best place to start is to remember something that you've done in your career that you're really proud of. Maybe you got recognition, maybe you didn't, but it's a thing that when you went running home and said to your sister or your mother, guess what I did? It's a thing that kids do so easily and we don't do so easily as adults. Think about those proudest moments and commit them to paper. What was it? Why'd you do it? And turn it into a STAR story. Situation, task, action, result. What were your biggest barriers to succeeding in that situation? How'd you overcome them? And how will the strengths that you exhibited here help companies in the future? So I'm going to set the stage for the next session and give you some homework assignments, and then we're going to take some questions. So what we would like you to do before the next session is complete all of the Part 1 workshops. Again, high-level run. Just jot down the first things that come to mind. There's no wrong. There's no right. There's what feels good. Make some time for some fun and relaxation. It's a pretty intense course, and it can be easy to forget about exercise and friends and family, and I just really encourage you to make sure that you do some of that. And keep coming back to, why did you come to this course? What were you hoping to get out of it? What were you hoping to get out of your career by putting more tools and understanding in your toolkit? What do you want in the next year? What do you want in the next 5 years? What do you want out of life? What do you want that picture to look like? Because gone are the days of, I go to work from 9 to 5 and I go home and ne'er the worlds shall meet. We live in a place where our worlds are constantly intersecting, and there's only one person who can protect the quality of your life, and it's you. What do you want that to look like? Maybe you want to travel the world. I know a doctor out in Stillwater who is changing the game in healthcare in terms of giving access to healthcare to people in remote locations and people who are homebound. It's remarkable, and he's doing it with doctors and PAs and nurses. He's got big dreams, and he's doing it. You can too. On the other hand, if you love the city that you live in and the house that you grew up in and you don't want anything big like that, there are wonderful things you can do right in your own community. So start to put those things to paper, put some deadlines by when you want to achieve these things, and think about what barriers are standing in your way and what can you do to break through them. So questions, Tracy and Sunny, what questions do we have at this point?
So Catherine, having talked to lots of people who have gone through this, the Minnesota Health IT program and other programs, one of the things that we've heard is when you go through a CareerHITrac program like this, you might feel kind of insulated in a silo, maybe disconnected from other people, and it could be hard to brainstorm. It could be hard to come up with all this information that you're drumming up through the process. Well, what do you suggest to help people feel like they're more connected and out of that silo?
Great question. This is really tough to do it alone, which is why I've said I really encourage you, please plug into the community. Make sure you join the Normandale Minnesota Health IT LinkedIn group and reach out and find an alumni. Find somebody who's gone before. Find somebody who's in the course right now. You could post a discussion in D2L right now today and say, hey, who wants to get together for coffee? So why not be somebody who spearheads some in-person networking among those of you that are in the cohort right now and start to build those relationships. And then what I'd like you to do is actually deliberately pick somebody who you feel really comfortable with, who you think is going to be an upper or a champion in this, and say, hey, would you like to go through this together? Why don't we do our homework and get together and grab a cup of coffee? We can do it over the phone even. In person's always the best, but over the phone works as well. And check in and work through this. So don't try to do it alone. It is a rare individual who's disciplined enough to go through it. And secondly, it's not just about discipline and motivation. It's about brainstorming. And unfortunately, we can't see ourselves in the pure, unbiased light that a 5-year-old can. We've got a bunch of junk, and we have blinders on, and we can't look in the mirror and see our talent and our achievements and all the things we bring to the party. So you need other people to help you uncover that. So don't do it alone. That's the way to overcome it. And the other thing that Sunny said is this can feel a little overwhelming. It is. Save this workbook to your hard drive. Make it your own. This is a tool for the rest of your career. Print it out. Carry it around with you. I encourage you to get a little black book where you can jot down things as they come to mind, because this is going to start the cogwheels turning, and you never know when an idea or an epiphany is going to happen. And then the other thing is, many of you say, and you wanted to scream at me through the webinar, but I don't know what I want. That's okay. To be honest with you, I don't know what I want in 10 years either. I know I love what I'm doing today. I also know with absolute certainty it's going to be different in probably 5 years, let alone 10. So here's some examples. If you right now have no ideas about what you want, pick something really easy like, what do you want your life to look like right now? Do you want to sleep more? Do you want ice cream once a week? So start with 1 or 2 things that you want in your life to improve your quality of life. And then secondly, what are 1 or 2 things that you would love to see happen at work? Maybe it's just a more regular communication with your boss. Maybe it is a chance to provide input on the implementation of a new software system. Whatever it is, pick 1 or 2 small things. And rather than focusing on, what do I want to be when I grow up, think about what are 1 or 2 small things that I want to achieve in the next 6 months or a year. And you'll find if you bite off small pieces, and take baby steps. The big steps are going to be a lot less intimidating. And they're going to start to fall in place. And you'll start to see the forest for the trees, and the paths will open up and the doorways will open up. So little tiny baby steps. So again, yes, I want you to do all the worksheets before you tune in for session number 2, but it's okay. If you feel stuck and you don't feel like you can even touch one of them, it's perfectly fine. Move on. So I hope that helps.
Yes, definitely.
So, Catherine, what do you say to people who are thinking about getting on to LinkedIn, but they're currently employed and they don't want their employer to see that they're out there possibly looking for a new job, or that they're just even out on LinkedIn at all?
Not that Tracy's looking for a new job.
No, she's not. She loves her job. So not only is that a great question, but it's an important one. So if you are gainfully employed and you're afraid that your employer is going to think that you're job hunting, don't get on LinkedIn. No, I'm totally kidding. Get on LinkedIn. But there are some tricks to the trade. So first of all, when you're creating your profile or updating it, there are boxes to check. Do not check the box that says looking for other opportunities or open to other opportunities. That will scare your boss, and they may just hand you a box and tell you to put your stuff in it and walk out the door. So you do need to be cognizant of that, and there are a couple of things. So that's one thing. Don't check the box that you're interested in other opportunities. Number 2, what you need to do is turn off your activity broadcast. So if you go into the settings section, actually go into LinkedIn Help and type in turn off activity broadcasts. And you can basically turn off automatic updates to alert people that you have connected with somebody new. They won't know you've connected with anybody new. They won't know that you've changed your profile. They won't know that you've added a new picture, and you will not alarm your employer. So that's piece 1. Piece 2, you could, if you chose, put Tracy M. rather than Tracy Mastel on your LinkedIn profile. I do not recommend that. I think it's a really bad idea. The whole point is you want people to be able to find you and connect with you. And if you just have your name and your last name and your profile's hidden, guess what? People are not going to connect with you. So I think that's a bad idea. So what do you tell your boss? If he or she walks into your office and says, "So, Sonny, I see you're active on LinkedIn lately. What's up? Are you leaving us?" You smile and you say, "Absolutely not. Do you remember when I took that Normandale course on healthcare and IT? Well, one of the instructors beat it into us that in order to be industry leaders, we have got to connected with other industry leaders, and LinkedIn is the very best way to do it." So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to learn about what other people are doing. I want us to know what our competitors are doing. I want to know what's hot, what's not. And are you out on LinkedIn yet? You want me to help you get signed up? So that's the way to handle an employer. Lean into it, get out there, and dispel their fears by being open and honest to that point. If you're job hunting, don't be that honest. That's too much information, but that's how to handle LinkedIn. So what other questions do you have?
Great. So one of the things that I can tell you will be clearly maybe, I don't know if you'd call it a barrier, but I think it'll make it a little difficult for people. When you look at kind of thinking about your goals and your vision, it gets very strategic, high level. It just assumes that you have a dream and you know exactly where you're going. What do you suggest, or how can you start in the middle? So if you kind of have an idea but you don't know all the way through, can you start in the middle and identify something that might be a 2-year plan and then think out, okay, I'm just going to start working towards that? What's kind of the smart strategy?
Absolutely. Very few people. How many people do you know who, when they were 5, said, "I want to be a nurse," and bam, they went and did it? "I want to be a teacher. I want to be a firefighter." Very few, in truth. Very few of us ever are that clear about what we want to do long term. So number 1, you're not alone. Number 2, it's perfectly fine. And number 3, just start paying attention to the world around you and start thinking, because once you start paying attention to yourself, things are going to start to crop up. Like, gee, I wish. I wonder if I should. What about? And start paying attention to every time that an idea comes to your mind. Stop and think about it. Jot it down in that little black book, and you'll pretty soon you're going to get better at noticing the things that you're attracted to. Get curious like a 4-year-old. I tell you what's beautiful about children is if they're interested in something, they go do it. If they want to jump out of a plane, they say, hey, Dad, I want to jump out of a plane. And he says, not today, Junior. You got to be 16 or 18. But, if they want to make up a game on the playground, they do it. If they want to, pick up a basketball, they do it. They are fearless, and they just go where their heart takes you. So if something makes you curious, just go do it. If you hear about a job like patient advocate and you think, well, what on earth is that? Go on LinkedIn, go on Indeed.com, go find somebody who's doing that and say, what is a patient advocate? What's a feng shui consultant? I'm fascinated by that. What is that? Health and wellness consultant, chief stripe changer, that's me. What is that? If you're attracted to it, go find out what it's all about. And that's a great way to start to figure out if it might be a fit for you, if it might not, and try things on for size. If any of you are job hunting, you want to know a great way to get a job? Go shadow somebody. Yeah, go to a company that you want to work for, reach out to somebody, preferably by referral, and say, call me crazy, but I'm really intrigued by the work that you do. Can I shadow you for a day? Some people will be freaked out and uncomfortable because they just don't do that very well, but some people will say yes. So my short answer is let go of feeling like you got to have a clear dream. You're not gonna. Number 2, just get curious and really explore whatever appeals to you. Online, talking to other people, trying it on for size, and volunteering. I get a lot of people that come up to me because they know I took care of my parents in the last 7 years of their life. And so I'm very verbal about it. If you got aging parents, come to me. So I attract a lot of people who say, I want to work in elder care. And I said, great. Have you ever worked in an assisted living facility or a hospital? Well, no. So you're going to quit your job, and you're going to go get a job working with elderly people, and you've never done that. What if you hate it? Oh, I won't. I love old people. I've been collecting them since I was little. That's good, but that doesn't mean you're going to love working in an assisted living facility. Why don't you go volunteer? Go volunteer nights and weekends and get a feel for the environment, and you're going to figure out pretty quickly, wow, I really want to do that. Or you might say, I can't stand this. I love the old people, but I can't stand watching them suffer with whatever. So explore, volunteer, try things on for size, talk to people. And bridge job. The other thing I wanted to make sure I talk about today and every session is your next job may not be a dream job. It might be a bridge to help you get there. So let's take a look at Darin. His bridge job from meteorology to doing what he loves today was technology work, heads down, technology development. He moved into systems and business analysis. He'll tell you he's in his dream job today, and he had 3 or 4 bridge jobs that carried him that way. What's important is that you start to identify, these are the kind of things I love to do, this is what I think I want to do. So if I have a choice of 3 jobs, and 2 of them won't get me any closer to that world that I want to live in, don't take them. Go after and choose a bridge job that's going to help to get you there. And with that, I think that's a pretty good place to wrap. What do you think, Tracy?
That's great. So thank you very much, Catherine, for this wonderful session. We had some really great information from you, and we're looking forward to the next session. So that will be on doing some market research, exploring the industry, and doing an assessment on that. So make sure you come back and join us for that. That will also be posted in D2L, so you can access the recording there. And that should be it. So thank you again for joining us. Make sure you connect with us on LinkedIn, and we are looking forward to everyone joining us next time.
Fantastic. See you next time.
Bye.